Welcome back. Welcome once again to Dharma Review. Well, that was a brief vacation. I just wanted to come back on the air and make a correction. And since we were talking about politics for the last 2 episodes, and I said I wasn't going to speak about politics, but something caught my attention, and then I went on to talk about the Pope and what Marrhew Fox wrote recently about the Pope. So let me just correct something immediately, and that is that if I am now correct, the reason that Marrhew Fox was excommunicated from the Catholic Church of his day was not because he was a hypocrite, but because they believe he was introducing a heresy. And that heresy is that he made a statement in his books and put forth the concept that there is no original sin. There was no original sin. Rather, there was original blessing, and that things were twisted to a particular point of view at some point in history. And original sin, the concept of original sin, came about as a way to control people and control the illiterate masses of the time. So he was trying to put forth a lot of his research that he was doing for his PhD, and he started making all of these discoveries. There's a whole bunch of books you can find on him to educate yourself about Marrhew Fox, but he's quite a beautiful, original thinker and philosopher and Christian. Here's some of his books. One of his very famous ones is called The Coming of the Cosmic Christ, The Healing of Mother Earth and the Birth of a Global Renaissance. Here's another one called Confessions, The Making of a Post-Denominational Priest, and then Creation Spirituality, Liberating Gifts for the Peoples of the Earth. He was also, as far as I know, if not the first person to write about Hildegard of Bingen, certainly the most prominent. He wrote a book called Hildegard of Bingen's Book of Divine Works with Letters and Songs. He was the editor of that one. Illuminations of Hildegard of Bingen. Another really cool book of his is called In the Beginning, There Was Joy. And again, one of my favorite ones is One River, Many Wells. So it's original blessing that actually got him in trouble. And I think that's the truth. And maybe one of these days, I mean, he's getting up there in years, it would be a lot of fun to have him on the show, or maybe at least we can get some other friends of mine, some of which are graduate students of his, and we can talk about Marrhew Fox and creation spirituality. So I just want to, here's something I want to just read real quick from the book, One River, Many Wells by Marrhew Fox. He's quoting the Indian mystic Kabir, and he says, Kabir sings, "Neither a Hindu nor a Muslim am I, a mere ensemble of 5 elements is this body, where the spirit plays its drama, of joy and suffering." Of joy and suffering. The God of the Hindus, Kabir goes on to say, resides in a temple. The God of Muslims resides in a mosque. Who resides there? Where there are no temples nor mosques. this book is full of quotations that he has found from so many mystics and religious people through the years, through the centuries. Anyway, it's great. That's one of the books we're going to dive deeper into, and that's part of what Dharma Review is all about, diving deeper. Certainly the website, that is the entire emphasis of the website, inviting you to dive deeper into some of the things that we talk about on the show. Since we're talking about books, before I get into what was the real excitement that made me jump on and say I wasn't going to talk about politics, but I just got to mention something. So that's also part of the correction, because I cited the wrong article that actually drew my attention today. But let me talk about one of the other books we're really going to dive into and talk about on the show, and that is Buddha is as Buddha Does by Lama Suryadas. Some of you may be familiar with the book already. It's fast becoming a classic. Another book we're going to touch on in upcoming episodes, and an author hopefully I'll be able to get on the show, Greg Bogart. It makes me laugh when I say that, because I want to say, don't bogart that book, Greg. It's called In the Company of Sages, The Journey of the Spiritual Seeker. It's really a cool book. Greg is actually a therapist now, but he began his journey as a disciple of the Guru Muktananda. So it's very interesting book. He brings up some very important things that I do want to emphasize on the show. And I will do my best to get him personally on the show as a guest. One of the other books we're really going to talk about is called the Bhagavad Gita. My favorite translation of this book, and when I talk about it, we'll talk about why. But the title of the book is The Bhagavad Gita, A New Translation by Stephen Mitchell. I think that it is absolutely one of the most beautiful translations there is, to the point where I didn't find a need for any commentary whatsoever. It just feels like this edition of the Bhagavad Gita is alive. It speaks straight to your heart. And when we get to it, we'll see if you agree. And then on the Tibetan Buddhist side, one of the books I want to highlight in upcoming episodes will be Dilgo Khyentse's The Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones. This has also become a classic. It's called The Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones by Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. Okay, so that's all the books I want to mention right now. Oh, and of course, there's something else that I will probably refer to in the coming episodes, which is a book compiled by Baba Ramdas, Miracle of Love, which is stories about Neem Karoli Baba, who is Ramdas's and Krishnadas's guru, who passed on some years ago. Very fascinating stuff, especially for our times, since a lot of these first visitors to India who discovered various gurus were also part of the Woodstock generation, you might say, or certainly the LSD experimentation crew. So there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about that. And recently I found there's a couple of vlogs on the web from some young gentlemen who have taken journeys on LSD and come out on the other end with similar discoveries to Ram Dass and Krishna Das and all those other guys who sort of ushered in this generation. All right, so that's what I wanted to say about that. Now, the article that really drew my attention was something cited by Marrhew Fox. Someone must have posted it on one of the Facebook pages I'm linked to, but it's written by Reverend Dr. Marrhew Fox, and the article was actually published on the Tikkun website, which Tikkun is a magazine, Tikkun, to heal, repair, and transform the world. And Marrhew Fox has this article listed under Politics and Society. And the title is, are you ready for this? Is Ryan a religious hypocrite? A priestly letter to Speaker Paul Ryan from Reverend Dr. Marrhew Fox. And they've actually published his letter, which he wrote to the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. And this is obviously in response to recent goings on in the House and the Senate, but anyway, primarily the House. So he says, Dear Speaker and Congressman Paul Ryan, as a priest who commemorates his 50th year in the priesthood this year, 28 as a Roman Catholic and 22 as an Episcopalian, and as your elder, I am writing you this letter because I am worried about your soul. We all know you take good care of your body, working out frequently in the congressional gym that we taxpayers provide for those in Congress, and that is a good thing. But I am concerned that you are neglecting your soul. It too requires workouts and practice to stay healthy. You claim to be a good and practicing Catholic Christian, but I am concerned that you are neglecting your soul. It too requires workouts and practice to stay healthy. You claim to be a good and practicing Catholic Christian, but I have serious doubts that you are. Our Christian beliefs include these words of Jesus after all. What does it profit a person if he gains the whole world but loses his own soul? These powerful words are surely important for anyone serving in public office or any other places of responsibility, whether in government or business or church or wherever. Yes, they even apply to your close buddies, the Koch brothers, upon whom you depend so fully for your income and ideas and campaigns and job. You see, another passage that grounds Catholicism and Christianity is found in Matthew 25. Do it to the least, and you do it to me. Not to mention the golden rule, which is found in Matthew 7:12, and is reflected in some form in every world religion and since the time of Hammurabi. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Now I want to ask from a spiritual and theological perspective how you can possibly reconcile these basic teachings of the Gospels with your continued efforts to create budgets for our entire nation that do the following. Threaten to privatize, thereby destroy Social Security for elders and disabled people. Destroy critical health support systems for the sick, the handicapped, the mentally disabled, and homeless by effectively scuttling Medicare and Medicaid. And he goes on and on to just, wow, really let him have it. Then he says, I wish through this letter to awaken your soul, your sweet Wisconsin smile and gym-toned body notwithstanding. Through your choices, you are dancing with evil. The Gospels teach such truths. So too does Pope Francis, who as a Roman Catholic you supposedly respect and listen to. Have you listened to his warnings and his teachings lately? Allow me to remind you of some of them. The Pope minces no words when speaking of the divergence of wealth and poverty today. He speaks to globalization this way. The globalization that makes everything uniform is essentially imperialist. It is not human. In the end, it is a way to enslave the nations. Is globalization enslaving the nations? It seems to me that much of Trump's success as a candidate was built around this very idea. Only his solutions seem to me to be dark indeed. What is your agenda, Mr. Speaker, about this inhuman globalization that is hurting so many citizens of our country and beyond? Pope Francis says Christianity condemns both communism and wild capitalism with the same vigor, and one needs to reject the wild economic liberalism we see today and seek equal opportunities and rights and strive for social benefits, dignified retirement, vacation time, rest, and freedom for unions. Anyway, I don't want to go on and on. You can read it for yourself, but it's just blew me out of the water. Just totally blew me out of the water. And it just hit the spot because it's exactly makes some of the points that I maybe didn't speak about specifically. I was mostly bringing up what spiritual leaders were saying. Well, here's another spiritual leader and has been for 50 years. A cutting-edge spiritual leader. A compassionate spiritual leader. But he's speaking very strong words because there are some who believe this is not a time for silence. This is a time to be seen and to be heard. No, we don't go out in anger with baseball bats or torches. That's not who we are. So we do have a voice, and that voice should not be silent, not at this time in history, and that is becoming more and more evident as the days go on. So now I am finished. I'm off my political soapbox. I'm going to go forward with the purpose and intent of this website. We will let all of the other leaders and spiritual guides of our generation do the speaking. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to draw your attention to what is being said in all of the seriously loving spiritual circles. And to some of you that say, well, this isn't, how could this be? This isn't loving. You're judging. All that is required for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. Let us learn from history once and for all. Amen and amen. Om. Namaste. When next I come back on the air, we're going to be talking about spirituality of music and the music of spirituality. And also, can you be spiritual, totally spiritually oriented, and also be an entrepreneur? Join us tomorrow as we talk to the originator and CEO of Theo Wani Musical Instruments. This is Yisrael signing off. Namaste, Tashidelek. Salam, salam, shalom, habayit, and good Shabbos to all my Jewish friends.